Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Every single weapon category right now in Warzone basically is offering something competitive, at least to the meta. Obviously, some of those main categories, the rifles, the SMGs, the snipers, they're offering the absolute meta choices in several of them, but really everything right now between the shotties, the LMGs, the pistols, everything you can customize right now presents something competitive you could rock on a loadout and find success with. And so today wanted to go through and break down the new best weapon and best loadouts in every single weapon category, starting first with the pistols, which is actually a pretty fun one and a pretty unique one. The Grakova just feels fantastic. This really is more like a pocket SMG, if you will, just because this behaves so much like a mini SMG. It's a fully auto pistol. You can kind of just spray and pray. You obviously aren't going to win every single gunfight against a meta SMG with this, but it is sufficient for a secondary if you're rocking a gunfighter loadout and you're just sort of waiting to get that second loadout or find a custom gun on the ground or something like that. So like I said, this setup is really unique primarily because of the weighted stock on here. This basically gives you a hybrid ADS. It's not tac stance, it's not ADS, it's right in between, but it helps out with that. It's still very accurate with it. It also gives you better control as well, so the gun's a little bit easier to use. And that's useful because we do have rapid fire on here, which does hurt the control a little bit, but it also gives you a crazy competitive TTK, one that can rival some SMGs at certain ranges here. I also go for extended 3. It's going to be a 60 rounder. Like I said, you can truly spray and pray with this thing. When it's a full auto pistol, you might as well, right? I also go for the long barrel. Extends out our damage range to just under 12 meters, which is pretty solid for a full auto pistol for sure. Then I do also go for the compensator again, just for slightly better control here to make myself a little bit more accurate. But for something that is just not going to be you know, a constant mainstay in your gunfights, if you're using gunfighter, you're probably trying to use that gun as often as possible. This is a nice safety net to have in your back pocket. Now for snipers, unfortunately, this one's a pretty obvious choice. It's the HDR. There is no surprise here. This is absolutely far and away the best sniper in the game, and pretty much has been since it was first introduced with the return of Verdansk. And quite frankly, the setup here is not really changing all that much from our previous coverage. You really just got to focus on velocity here because it's got that infinite one-shot headshot. The damage range does not matter, so you just want a good velocity. Monolithic suppressor is going to help with that. The gain twist barrel is going to help a ton with that as well, and then so is overpressured ammo on here. So we end up with a 1207 velocity, which is fantastic. Bullet drop and bullet lead is going to be pretty predictable there, and the overall hit scan range and feel of that is going to be really generous as well. I do go for the quick draw rear grip just to speed it up a little bit here. We're at a 585 ADS, which is about standard for the other heavier snipers in the game. This of course just has a much better one-shot range than all of those. Then lastly, the lightweight bipod helps out a ton with the idle sway. Just makes it so you don't have to constantly be holding your breath if that's something you try to you know, do every time you ADS. This gives you a little bit of leeway there. It makes the gun a lot easier just to stay on target as you're shooting back to back there. So this is a really easy sniper setup, and it's also insanely dominant. And by the way, as we are going through all the weapons, all the setups here today, if you guys enjoy the video, you find the information helpful, a like rating is always seriously appreciated. And if you're new to the channel, you want to guarantee that each and every day you are in the know for all things going on in COD. News, updates, patch notes, meta breakdowns, I got you covered, so feel free to hit that subscribe button and turn on those post notifications. Next up here for the Marksmans, this is a close competition because the Kar 98K is fantastic, one shot out to like 65 meters. The DM10 is insane with a fast TTK, but I kind of lean the TR2. I think it's probably got the highest skill gap there. It is a little bit more difficult to use than the DM10, but it's insane at every single range. We've covered this a lot when talking about the fastest TTK options in the game. This thing can just obliterate players if you know what you're doing with it. The Marksman's in general is a higher skill gap class for sure. This is a gun though that just thrives in the right hands. It can be so insanely overpowered if you know what you're doing with it. So I actually go for a gunfighter loadout here. I really want to optimize this in as many different ways as I can. First up for the optic here, I love the Otero red dot. I rock this on a lot of my go-to main meta setups here. This is a matter of preference, so if you like a 2 times or 3 times more than this, rock that instead. Rock whatever you are comfortable with there. Monolithic suppressor, of course, helping out with our range and our velocity. Reinforced barrel doing more of the same. We've got a 1500 velocity on this thing without overpressured, which is absolutely insane to say. We also have a near 55 meter effective damage range as well, which is crazy good too. Vertical foregrip just helping out when you are spamming this as fast as possible. Just going to maintain some accuracy there. Of course, extended 2 is going to be a 40. That's sufficient for this fire rate. You're not going to necessarily burn through ammo because the fire rate cap, and you'll obviously go through that at your own pace, so you know exactly when you have to reload. Quick draw rear grip for that faster ADS, of course, just making this a little bit more snappy. Infiltrator stock for the better strafe, helps out a ton in gunfights, just gives you that little mobility advantage there from time to time. And then lastly, rapid fire here only hurts the recoil control and not the damage or the velocity, so that's huge. It's also going to give us a better potential TTK as well if you can hit that fire rate cap. So this thing goes from crazy good without rapid fire to borderline broken with it. This is such a dominant gun if you can master it. Then following that, for the LMGs, we have maybe a bit of a surprise option here. I was kind of surprised when I was doing my stat checking to sort of narrow this down to which LMGs I wanted to look at and test, and the TAC Eradicator is actually what came out on top. This thing's mid-range into early long-range TTK is phenomenal, and then over the true long range, it's right up there with some of the main meta options, like the best rifles, the other better LMGs in the game. So this thing is surprisingly good, and it's not that difficult to use. It's got clean irons, like on this build that we're rocking here, just an iron sight build, no optic. I love the feel of this thing. It was one of my favorite guns in Warzone previously, and it's nice that it can actually hold its own here in BO6 Warzone as well. So first up, Spirit Fire Suppressor, helping out with velocity and range, extending that out some. So will any other suppressor for what it's worth. The Conquer 70 Long Barrel also helps out with velocity and range. And then of course, high grain ammo does more of the same. So we end up with an 1150 velocity. That is pretty standard, and that's solid. 63 meter effective damage range is also fantastic as well. I do like the brute stock on here. This helps out some with control, firing aim stability. That's feeling fantastic. And then the bow breaker grip is going to work the same as like the other vertical underbarrels as well, just helping out with recoil. So this thing is going to be easy to use. It's also going to feel like it's frying over pretty much all ranges. Hey everyone, wanted to give a quick shout out to my friends over at G Fuel. Things are heating up, of course, for the summer, and G Fuel's got you covered if you're looking for energy or hydration. They've got so many different options for their energy tubs. They've got different flavors, the can options as well. And if you're just looking to stay focused and hydrated this summer, look no further than their hydration line with a bunch of fantastic flavors too. They got a little bit of something for everyone. And of course, if you're ever looking to pick up anything at all from the G Fuel site, be sure to toss in code Immortal at checkout and you'll save yourself some cash. Link for that will be down in the description below if you're interested. Now, nothing about the shotgun category is particularly insane. We don't have some crazy broken overpowered shotgun like in years past, but the Marine is honestly a pretty solid choice. You can get some pretty surprising knocks. You're just extremely limited to that ultra close range. There's basically very, very limited versatility here. Obviously it's a shotgun. It's supposed to exclusively be good up close, but even then, a lot of the shotguns in this game are not very good up close. SMGs and rifles are better than them, but the Marine can hold its own. This is actually a pretty fun build. This is a TAC stance build, essentially. So the main component here is going to be using the TAC laser, allowing us to have that. I just think it's a bit more convenient on shotguns than a full-on ADS. It's a little bit more aggressive, if you will. So I do like that quite a bit. We've got rapid fire on here. It does hurt the damage range a tad bit, but it's not going to be a huge deal at the end of the day because it's nerfing it just by a little amount. And you're getting that faster fire rate, which is going to be huge if you don't get that initial knock. Getting that second, that third shot off to either get the full down or get the cleanup is super, super important there. Combat stock here feels great for my playstyle. Better slide to fire, better sprint to fire, just making it a lot more aggressive in general. The long barrel does extend that damage range out, so it kind of cancels out with rapid fire there, and also gives you more ammo as well. You have an 8 mag size here as opposed to the standard one. Then also the modified choke, just helping out with that ADS pellet spread for the TAC stance build there, obviously coming into play a little bit. So it's accurate, it's pretty easy to use for a shotgun, and it's pretty aggressive as well. You just have to be up in the enemy's faces for this to really thrive. Not particularly surprising for the SMGs either, but the LC-10 is the go-to. It's good in the mid-range. It is especially good in its first damage range, where it's got one of the fastest TTKs in the entire game here. So this thing melts. It's easy to use. It's aggressive and agile. It's checking all the right boxes. There's a lot of good SMGs, as we've talked about previously. This one, though, definitely stands above the rest for the time being, at least. So here, long barrel, extending out our damage range to just over 16 meters. Ranger foregrip on here, better sprinting speed, better horizontal control, so you're faster and the gun's easier. That's a win-win in my book. Extended 2 is going to be a 55 here. That'll work with an 800 RPM. The DPM's not going to be insane, but it's not going to be terrible either. Quick draw rear grip for a faster ADS, just to make this more snappy and aggressive. And infiltrator stock for that better strafe speed, which just feels fantastic when you're in ADS-based gunfights there, so you can sort of bob and weave around while staying on target on the enemies. Really, really fun SMG, and man, is it dominant. Now, the battle rifle category is a little bit weird just because it's only MW2 and MW3 guns, so they all kind of have the different feel since there's no BO6 options, but the Sidewinder is surprisingly good. TTK wise, this thing is insane. Its first damage range is nuts, and then its long damage range is fantastic as well in terms of that damage output there. just, it feels a little bit odd. It's not something that's impossible to use, but it's a gun that you have to spend some time with, really get used to its behavior, and then you can fry with it. It's not a pickup and you're just gonna beam everybody with it. It's, okay, I'm spending time in the firing range, I'm spending time in plunder or clash or whatever, testing this thing out and really mastering the recoil pattern and the fire rates, and then you can really thrive with this thing. But if you're good with it, it is a fantastic gun here. So I really wish we could rock Gunfighter on this. I go for the Night Owl Model 2023. It's an optic I'm comfortable with. Use whatever one you are comfortable with personally. Spirit fire suppressor, better velocity, better range, super important on this gun. The Predator precision barrel is going to do more of the same, at least in terms of velocity. The important thing here though is it's also giving you better control, which this gun definitely needs help with. But we end up with just over 1,000 velocity. That's sufficient for sure. The 23 meter effective damage range doesn't really have extreme drop-offs beyond that. Like I said, its long damage range is insane for its TTK stats there. Pineapple underbarrel is going to do the same as all the other vertical ones, just helping out with control. And then the extended mag here is 30, but it's only at 375 RPM, so you're not going to necessarily burn through 30 rounds necessarily. It will work. Like I said though, if we could use Gunfighter here, get a stock, get a rear grip, get some ammo on there even, this thing could be even better. It's a bit of a bummer that we're limited to 5, but this still gets the job done. And then lastly here for the assault rifles, again, not a huge surprise, but the Krig is just the go-to. It does everything at the highest level. Pretty easy to use in terms of control, great range, great velocity, great TTK over range. It's just checking all the right boxes here. The thing is a laser beam and it melts at the same time. Just a basic 5 attachment setup here, rocking the Otero Red Dot again. Simply a matter of preference here. Monolithic suppressor extending out our range and our velocity. Reinforced barrel doing more of the same. 1252 velocity, 58 meter effective damage range. Phenomenal stats there for all mid to long range engagements. Vertical foregrip makes this thing as predictable as possible in terms of that horizontal control. Then I go for extended 2, which is actually a 70 rounder. Pretty unique to the Krig and also super helpful to have that extra safety net there as opposed to like a 50, a 55, a 60 that most guns have. 70 is a welcomed change here for sure. Like I said, a pretty basic setup, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. This thing gets the job done at the best efficiency level possible. It is the go-to gun for pretty much everyone right now. That said, it's gonna wrap things up. As I mentioned at the start of the video, basically every single customizable weapon category here offers something competitive at minimum, meta at best, right? So there's a lot of fun choices here depending on how you want to mix things up or which weapon class gravitates towards your play style. Cannot recommend these builds enough. If you guys enjoyed the video though, you found the info helpful, a like rating is always seriously appreciated. And if you're new to the channel, you want to make sure that every single day you're in the know for all things going on in COD, feel free to hit that subscribe button and turn on those post notifications. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you later. Peace out.